Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. So today I'm meeting up with Matt Downs again from Trick Tins. If you guys missed the last video of the first part of the John boat build, make sure you click the link down in the description below and go check that out. So first we're going to go over what Matt has done to the boat since the last time I saw him. So we are probably two and a half hours away, so it's hard for me to come down and film like a lot of what he's doing, especially since he's doing a lot of it after work. It's gonna be pretty mind-blowing, like the difference between last time and now, but he'll give you a full rundown of that. And then I'm gonna be here for the next 2 days filming some of the work that he's gonna be getting done on the boat. We're gonna get it almost to completion, and next week we're gonna be taking the boat out for the maiden voyage. But let's go see what he's got done.
Guys, welcome back. So it's been a lot happening since the last time you saw what we were doing, so we'll give you a little rundown of where we're at. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in this boat. The main thing that I did was the paint job, and the paint job was very labor intensified, but I think it turned out pretty sick. I'm happy with the colorway, and I think you guys are gonna like it too. This is a hyper blue on the bottom, and the top is just a gloss black. The black on the top rail was kind of a last minute thing. We were thinking of doing the whole boat hyper blue, but I think that it kind of sets it off having the gloss black, and Matt kind of had the same idea, so we went and ran with it. We've got a lot of electrical that's been going into this boat. We'll start at the front here. We've got headlights. We added some headlights in here so you can see what you're doing at night. The only thing different that we added into this front deck, besides painting all the hatches, was this one hatch up front here, which is actually gonna be a cooler. It's a little day cooler for the tournament. You can put your food in there. You don't have to bring a cooler to put your lunch in and your drinks and stuff like that. Other than that, the deck in the front is pretty much the same. We did add all the internals inside of the lids, so they're all framed out, boxed out. They have LED lights in all of them, which we're gonna show you in just a second. But yeah, other than that, the front deck was pretty much the same. There's one thing I did on the boat I hadn't done before but really wanted to, because I deal with a lot of these well builds and I hate the top rail. It's round, it makes it impossible to put lights on, mount things on. So I actually left the round rail on there, and I took a piece of 1x3 rectangular tubing, 1/8 inch thick. I cut it in a table saw with an aluminum blade, 1.25 inches, and dropped it right over the top rail that's existing on this boat, and then welded it up underneath the sides, front and back, and seamed it together in pieces so that it could keep the same contour that the original rail had on it. So yeah, I'm very happy with the way it turned out. I think it actually changes the whole look of the boat. It makes it a lot more aggressive, and it gives me a place to hide some of my LED lights and mount anything onto. Plus it gives you the ability to step on it and walk up and down the boat if you needed to, tippy-toe on the rail as opposed to a round rail. One of the other things, we were kicking around the idea of the electrical panel, and originally we were talking about putting the electrical panel here in the face of this front deck, and we played around with it, and it seemed like it would have taken too much storage out of the hatch here, and it would have just looked funny if you opened the hatch and then you had half of the corner blocked off. So I decided that it would be a great idea to incorporate our side panels as electrical panels. As you can see, this panel isn't finished yet. We're still running some electrical, and we still have a lot to do to the boat, but this basically houses all the electronics for this boat. You got a radio, your fuse panel, bilge pump, and then you have all your switches. And I'm going to show you in a second what all these switches do, because they're all hooked up already. To mirror this side, we went ahead and threw another hatch into the opposite side, which is going to be just a storage for either the passenger or whoever the driver wants to put his stuff in there. You can do that. The LIVEWELL is hooked up. It does have water in it, so we can test that out. Just a minute, we'll turn that on and fire it up, get everything going, and show you how it works. It'll bring us into our back deck. We've got the 2 doors here. We'll open up. This will house the gas tank on this side and 3 batteries on this side. We also have the bilge pump back here. It's already ran, and We have a Noco Genius Pro 10x3 battery charger that will charge the lithium batteries and keep them happy. Alright guys, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on inside of this control panel right here. So obviously we've got a radio. It's pretty simple. It's got Bluetooth, AM, FM. You know, it's pretty standard. Right now I just have this hardwired because this is hardwired from my battery charger just so that I can run all this stuff because we do not have the batteries installed in the boat. And I basically use this thing to check all the wiring as I go and make sure that we won't have any issues and everything's working. This switch down here is going to be for the bilge pump, which is not actually hooked up yet. This will be our main on, which isn't hooked up yet either because it's just hooked up directly to the battery. So we got our freshwater pump, which would pump water into this live well. Go ahead and open this live well up. It's already full because we're in the garage. Obviously it's not going to pump water in, but it will recirculate, and it does have lights. Alright, so that brings us to our next switch, which is our cabin light. And every single one of these compartments has LEDs in it, multiples. The bigger ones have 3, the rod locker actually has 8, the other 2 up front just have 1. So I'm going to turn these on. I'm going to give you a little walk around to show you exactly how bright they actually are. We've got 2 storage compartments on this side. Same 2 compartments mirrored on this side. Then we have our rod locker. Plenty of light in there so you can get your rods out early morning and get one snagged up. You'll be able to see it pretty easily to get it out of there. And that's all the lights on the front deck. Alright, so the very front forward switch is going to be for the headlights. You got 2 headlights. They're pretty bright. Let's see how bright they are out in the water when we water test it. But I think it'll be all right. I really think it'll be good to have some vision, you know, out in front of the boat so you can see where you're going at night. All right, so that brings us to the 2 switches that, in my opinion, really trick this tin. These are my favorite switches. So this one is for the black light. We have underneath the inside of the interior rail. It's a 16-foot strip light. It runs continuous front to back. Kill this light so you can really see it and get a feel for it. It definitely sets it off, and once the turf is in place, it's really going to look cool. And then the second switch is going to be our exterior lights, which has 16 foot of blue LED strip light on the outside of the boat, and it really accents the blue on the side of the hull. Once we get the decals and stuff on the outside, I think it's really going to set it off, especially when we hit the water. Yeah, so we threw these speakers in here, kind of a last minute deal. I had no idea that they had this many functions, but you can change all these lights and modes, and it's really neat. So I think it really sets it off. And they sound pretty good too. You can get a full view of the entire LED scheme with the blue outside, the black lights inside, and the LED speakers.
So you guys can obviously see Matt has done quite a bit of work on this boat. It looks insane. It's unbelievable. By far the nicest John boat that I've ever seen, and it's not even done yet. What do we got planned for the next 2 days, Matt? What are we going to be doing?
Basically, I'm going to try to finish up a little bit of electrical we got. We got the turf that's going to be going in here, which is really cool, by the way. I can't wait to show you guys that. I'm pretty excited about that. We're going to put the batteries in, test the trolling motor, make sure that it's deploying and stowing correctly. We're about to mount this motor on here right now. We're going to put this custom-made jack plate I got right here. I actually made this for another boat, and it didn't work out for that boat, but it's going to work perfect for this boat. I cut this little crescent out of it so that it will sit up a little bit higher, and it's going to put this motor 4 inches offset, and it's going to bring it out of the water about 2.5 inches overall, which is going to put it to where it's going to run pretty quick. What's up, guys? So I read a comment on the first video we posted. They were asking about if we put foam in the boat. We didn't use the pour foam just because that stuff is a pain in the butt and it's messy if you ever got to take it out. What we use is a closed cell foam. It comes in different thicknesses, so it kind of allow for that with some of the compartments, so it can have it not only as flotation but as like a sound dampener. This entire boat, between all of the ribs from this back deck all the way up to the front, has a little more than a 4x8 sheet of 2-inch thick closed cell foam shoved into the floors. It's also shoved into the side compartments. You can see a little bit of it down there in that compartment. And also on either sides of the live well is insulated with the foam to help keep it cool. And then the side over here is packed with a bunch of live. So there's a lot of foam in the boat, probably more than we took out. I'm gonna put this one last piece in, the face here, which isn't really for flotation, but it's gonna be more so just to take up that space and help with any sound or, you know, fill the void. This is our last piece of metal in this floor. Let's finish this off. I'm gonna go ahead and attach this. And we're gonna get ready to do some turf in here. Wow. Yeah. So this turf is actually it's called Orthodeck. I've never installed it before. I've heard a lot of good things about it. These sheets are 45 by I think 80 inches. It's definitely thicker than the turf and the sea deck that I've used or the hydro turf. It seems like it's a little more soft, or like compresses better. I think Orthodeck was actually invented by a foot doctor. That's why it's called Orthodeck. It seems to be pretty good quality. I'm really excited to use it. This is a blue, black, and teal 6mm with a brushed finish on it. So what I'm doing is I was just trying to square up the corners. A lot of these rip off the factory, off the coil line, and they're not square on the corners, and you need to make sure that your corners are square before you start cutting, and when you go to drop your piece in, you're gonna have gaps and it's not gonna fit right. The piece I have to cut out for the floor is already out of square a little bit because nothing in these boats are square. So usually I template them, but something as simple as the floor, it's not gonna need a template for this. It seems like the edge on this one is pretty good. So usually what I'll do, I'll find the best corner, or I'll cut a square line if I have to get a good square corner to go off of. This corner is in pretty good shape right here. So I've already measured the piece I need. So I'm just gonna mark it off, and then I'll cut through it with a razor blade with a wood backer and a straight edge on top, which I'll show you in just a second. Okay. Which way? That's the front. Let's start with this corner over here. They say measure twice, cut once, so always double check, because these sheets are not cheap. So that's got a wood backer. It's actually a little white shelf that I didn't need anymore, so it works perfect as a backer. I've already marked it. Get it up on the board where I can hold this piece of aluminum angle. Should just be able to drag cut it. Nice and slow with a fresh razor blade. Matter because I'm going to cut it back off over here. Cuts really well. Tight fit. Alright, so I'm just gonna use some mineral spirits, a rag to wipe this metal down. I've already vacuumed it and blown it. It's still got some dust on it. I want to make sure it's super clean because you only get one chance with this stuff. If you stick it wrong, you're probably not going to be able to pull it up without ruining it. So when I do this turf, start peeling it back about maybe 4 or 5 inches. And this, I will say, the backing paper on this turf is by far superior than any other backing paper I've had. A lot of times it's like peeling a sticker and you'll get half of it and then it'll just tear, and then you got turf stuck to the, or the back paper stuck to the turf, and it's a pain in the butt. So tuck my corners nice and tight. And the stuff stretches. You can kind of manipulate it. I'm not worried if I got a little gap like right here because this stuff is so thick. The piece that we cover this face with is going to stick out well past the edge of that. Just roll it up a little bit, grab your paper, and do the same thing. They sell this turf, all different turfs, with and without the sticky back. I would highly recommend you use a sticky back. If not, it is very messy, and I mean, you see how easy this is. It just goes right down. You don't have to worry about, you know, glue or any of that crap. It's a little more expensive, but in my opinion, it's well worth the extra money. You don't have the aggravation of the glue. Peel the rest of this off here. Pull it too hard because you can get your lines out of whack. Not too bad with this colorway and this brush on it, but some of the turfs that you cut through, it's very easy to, you know, get a line way off because you stretch it too far. I mean, I'm stretching it as hard as I can right here to get this piece to do what I want it to. It was tight a second ago, but once you take that backer off, it like shrinks up on you without the backer on there. I think the glue somehow shrinks it. It's weird. That little gap right there is fine, because that will be covered up with the wall piece, so just don't want it to get any bigger. Pretty good. Looks really cool with the black on it. Press it down, let it sit, check it. Make sure it's not coming up in any corners and you're good to go.
All right. Just gotta do this.
I know. We're going to turf the entire interior of this boat. Everything except for the top rail. Obviously we just did the floor and it looks really, really sick in here. So from there, my next step would be to have one piece that starts from the floor and comes up, and as far up as it will go, I'm hoping that it will incorporate all 3 of these hatches, so I can use the cutouts for the hatches for the lid doors, and it will also incorporate these 2. And then I'll have another piece on the opposite side as a mirror image to incorporate the other 2, and then maybe a small triangular piece in the front to finish it out. So you probably got another 2 sheets into the front deck. Same type of deal on the back deck. We'll have a sheet that, you know, starts over here, wraps up and back. We'll probably split a seam somewhere in the center. That way we can have our door cutouts in both of the sheets. We'll probably have a sheet and a half into that. And then the rest of it, we're gonna wrap these side panels, and the compartment doors that are going in there will also be wrapped. So it'll look really cool when it's all done.
How long is that gonna take to do?
Oh man, if I'm working in this heat, it might never happen. It's like 95 degrees out here and no wind. But yeah, honestly, usually a standard build, it takes me probably about 10 to 15 hours to do the turf. And that's because I make a template out of a ram board, cardboard type deal. It's basically the exact cutout I'm gonna make of the turf that I'm using, except it's just a template, it's a piece of cardboard, and I trace it and cut it out. I've had a lot of luck doing it that way. That's just the way I do it. So it usually takes me about an hour to make one template, and then after I got the template, it takes me another hour to cut the piece out and prep the deck and install it. So with that being said, with this boat having all these hatches and crazy stuff going on, it's easily going to take me 15, maybe 20 hours to do all this turf and get it perfect, but it's going to happen.
Well, I got back from Matt's the other day, and he's been sending me quite a few pictures of updates that he's made since I left already. That boat is coming together so quick, and it's looking absolutely phenomenal. I cannot wait to see it. The next time we go see it, it's going to be completely done, so make sure you guys stay tuned. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and be on the lookout for that video of the Jon boat reveal. It's gonna be completely different than what you think it's gonna look like. I mean, I know you guys have basically seen the entire layout of the boat. It's been painted. You're gonna be very surprised, we'll put it that way. It's gonna look completely different, and then obviously it's gonna have all of the foam on there, the electronics, and maybe some really cool decals that are just gonna set this thing off. But I mean, hands down to Matt Downs, he is the man. It's like insane to watch him work. As far as like the technical build goes and then the creative side of things, it's really unbelievable to watch him. It's honestly like an art. I mean, there is no way that I could come up with half the things that are on that boat, and that just goes to show his passion for building and the skill that he has to back it up. It's very cool working with him. It's been a pleasure, and I cannot wait to get out on that boat and start using it. Also, make sure you click the links down in the description below. Go check out PW-Marine. That's Matt's website where he sells a bunch of hatches. You can buy the electrical drop-in hatch. He's going to be selling jack plates on there, and then who knows what else will be available down the road. Obviously, you can always get in contact with him over on his Facebook page or Instagram too, as far as Jon boat builds go. But I'm sure he's going to be very, very busy, so make sure you do it soon. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me. We'll see you on the next one.